Hello everyone and welcome to Mind Over Matter. I am Anastasia, your host, and today there are a lot of one-to-one interviews with different guests, such as we have Tani from Healing Arts, as well as a panel discussion talking about self-love and personal growth. Please do stay tuned. Thank you.
This is Zed.
And Sapphire.
I'm talking about Christmas. We'd love to wish you all at home a very Merry Christmas all the way from Team Mind Over Matter TV show. And remember, there is always a lending ear out there and you are just fantastic. Have a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Stay tuned for more. This is Mind Over Matter TV show.
Good afternoon. Welcome back, Craig and Debbie, also known as Zed and Sapphire. And also we have Tani from Healing Arts. So we will be talking about self-love and also appreciation. So let's start. In terms of self-love and know your worth, I mean, I have had a lot of struggle knowing my worth in the past, and it's all about having practice to kind of build it and grow. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how do you define knowing your worth?
I think I grew up with that side of things through the loss of both parents, to be honest, and to feel like you've got no love left in you, to go through the mental health phase. Back then you wouldn't know it was mental health because I was much younger, in my early 20s. But then you start to realise that when somebody comes into your life, such as my lovely Sapphire, she grew to love me and I grew to love her, and I realised there is love there. And I had self-worth as well, which I had to give back. And when you share that self-worth and the love that you share, it makes people around you happy and builds this big aura of happiness and joyous. That's what I feel, and that's my sort of situation that I was in.
And how would you define it? Like,
well, when I was younger, I went through a lot of troubled times, at school. I was bullied quite a lot, and obviously I felt a bit worthless. So I didn't know what direction.
Because other people can really knock your confidence down.
Yes, that's how I felt. But,
yes.
I stuck in at school with my exams and things, and I came out trumps in the end with that. So the bullies didn't get the better of me there. So yes, as I grew up, I had to go through the grief of losing family members very close, my mother and my brother. And the thing is that I felt like empty and numb when that happens. You've lost people in your life, but as you say, you grow up, and it's the love from others that you start to feel like you are worth something. In the end, and it's the love and the hugs that made me go on.
But I also feel like you shouldn't really rely on other people to know your worth. You should feel it inside.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
You're exactly right, because I think that what she was trying to say is, once you feel the love from the other person, your love and your self-belief starts to flourish, and you realise it's there.
Yes.
And you have that.
Yes.
And you have that, and you have to let that shine. As that's your self-worth. Don't let anybody knock it down.
Exactly.
Because I built a lot of barriers. From my young age, and my barriers went down as I grew up and I got older and things like that. So that's when I could let myself go and hug people and that, because in my household we didn't really hug, and nobody ever says they loved me, so I went through it like that. I know my mum and dad loved me, but I never got hugs and them saying that to me.
So if you lack love, you kind of lack that worth.
Yes.
Kind of thing, that self-love.
I didn't know that people actually say that in families.
I know what
I
you
love
mean.
you and things like that, because I was never accustomed to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how would you define it? And also appreciation. How does that come into it?
Yes.
Do you
I'll
see?
carry on this conversation.
Yes.
I hear you both from the background. Self-worth and self-loving is a bit struggled at
Yes.
early age because of loss of loved ones being around. As we are all experienced with childhood, in our childhood, we experience this like mirroring things or observing our role models. If they are no longer there, we struggle with kind of feeling lost. And while we grew up, we share that self-love or reflecting to our partners or other people, might be our friends, close friends, or other relatives, other people. So that's kind of connecting and feeling belong to something like a family or community. So then we discover ourselves, our self-worth, and start, our own journey, and picking up from our past and present, combining with those experiences. So that's self-worth.
But I know, I know what you mean by getting that love from others that will help you kind of appreciate yourself. But how would you kind of grow that self-love within yourself?
Okay.
What are your ways of doing that?
Yes. So it takes these experiences from past. I use as tools or experiences to make connection and to self-worth and create my own treasures. Loving myself first and joining this love with others, with chosen ones, of course. Now, at this stage, we become more cautious.
Because they say, how can anyone love you if you don't love yourself?
Exactly. Yes.
So
And then with appreciation, I built the like pillars of appreciation. Who I share my love with, and how appreciate those people in my life. So these are very concrete stages I go through, and then it makes me happier, more appreciated, and I'm appreciating more the other people's.
and it helps, it helps having positive people around you,
Yes.
people to lift you up. Because if you're around negative, dark people, it will bring you down.
Yes, drains your energy.
It does.
Whereas with positivity, with trust, yes, we might have that trust issue, but we have to build up on that. No one person is dissimilar than other examples. So individually, we connect. When we connect, we build that trust, and then appreciation starts both ways.
Yes, and what's your ways?
Of coping, do you mean, or?
Like of building to learn how to love yourself.
Yeah.
What are your tips?
Well, my tips are, they're probably a little bit different because I'm an entertainer, but because I love entertaining, and that gets me away from anything that's negative. If somebody wants to be negative or you get an online troll, I used to say things back to them, and very verbally as well. But now I've took the instructions of up here, and it just tells me to ignore them. You're better than that, and people will love you for who you are.
Yes.
Not for what they perceive you to be, and they can knock themselves down, but they can't knock you down.
Exactly.
It's like the old song says, I get knocked down but I get up again. You're never going to beat me down.
Yes.
It's a thing.
You don't want to let them
No.
win. No.
And they never will. Not with me, not with her,
No.
and not with you guys as well, because we are collaborative like the mafia of mental health. And
Exactly.
we're here to
I
stand
like
up
that,
for
the
people.
mafia of mental health.
Yeah, so watch out, folks,
Okay.
because
And
we're coming for
I
you.
find now that as I'm older,
Yeah,
I do think I am worth something now. You know,
Yeah.
That's really good.
that's what I feel, and I
Yeah.
just need to ask him,
And it's
you know,
never too
for a
late
hug or anything.
No.
Yeah.
to love yourself.
No,
It's a
no.
learning process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It is.
Takes time, takes practice, effort.
It builds up.
Exactly.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and you do get people out there that would knock that. They'll say, oh, if you're on TV or something like that, they'll say, you only love yourself. Yes, I only love myself, but
Yes.
I'm here to share the love with you. It's just that
Exactly.
you're too blind to see it.
Yes.
Yes.
So there you go.
And loving yourself, maybe people can think that you're arrogant, but no.
Yeah,
It's
no,
knowing
no,
your
no,
standards
no,
and
yeah.
knowing what you're worth.
You know your own.
It's not about
yeah.
being arrogant.
No.
You know your
But
own
except
barriers,
for
don't
some
you?
people, they can take that in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. But they don't know your struggles that you've been through.
Yes.
You know, to get there, to feel.
Exactly.
I mean,
So you can say to yourself and say to everybody, I love myself.
Well, you know something? I do love myself, and nobody will ever take that away from me. Nobody will ever bully me because I am worth something.
Exactly.
well said.
Very well.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, to wrap up,
Yeah.
is there any other thoughts
Well,
you
in
would
the
like
wo-
to add?
In the
or-
words of Whitney Houston, I will always love you. There we are.
Yes.
That's a good reminder.
That's a
Yeah.
good reminder, yes.
Bless her, yeah. Lovely
And when
song.
we say I will always love you, it doesn't mean you, it can be
Yeah.
you,
Look in the mirror.
yourself.
You're there. You're there to be loved.
Yeah.
In a good way, folks.
Yes.
So my tip is keep smiling
Yeah.
all the way through life. because,
Smiling is
that's
a
what's
positive
about.
energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
positive energy.
Well, that's it. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next interview.
And very Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hi, I'm Fiona Watt. I'm joined here today with Tanny. This is Mind Over Matter TV, episode 7, and we would both like to wish you a very happy holiday season.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody, from now.
Tanny, thank you so much for joining me today. This is our last show of the year, and it's been such an amazing year. We have discussed so many different aspects of mental health. Today we are going to shine a light on your extremely interesting and challenging experience. Your story, you have gone through depression, homelessness, divorce, and now you have done so amazing that you're in the position to be here and wanting to not only share your experience but to help people as
Yes.
well. So would you like to tell me, maybe we could start with a little bit about the background of what trauma did you experience that kind of opened the floodgate then to how you...
Okay. Thanks, Fiona, introducing me. Yes, like everybody else, I went through some hardship in the past. Some people call them trauma. Yes. And as you mentioned that losing your home is the first traumatic things that affect your life
Yeah.
during that time.
So were you living in rented? Did you own a home? What was your circumstance at
Okay,
that time?
now it's 15 years ago.
Okay.
It's past 15 years, it's quite a long, lengthy
Mhm.
time. At the time, we were living in a nice home, sweet home, with loved ones, and we had good jobs, good lifestyle
Mhm.
that we dreamed of, we built
Yes.
together. And those times, first of all, started with losing our jobs, being redundant, and couldn't cope with the high mortgage rates, etc. The battle starts from there.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't cope any longer because of the bank chasing for the debts accumulated over months. We tried to find solutions, but wasn't enough. And then the conflict started in between the loved ones. And we were trying to keep our heads over the floor, and all of a sudden our home has been repossessed, and we were here in the middle of the street.
Were there a certain amount of payments that had to be missed, or was that something that happened in 2 months, 6 months? How?
Yes, those like episodes, going to courts with the bank and meeting, etc., didn't help.
And then the stress is building that
Oh, yes,
entire
yeah.
time, and the stress was in the home, I imagine.
Yes,
as
the
well.
stress and was coming very heavily.
Did that affect your health in any way?
Yes, at the time it didn't feel like, those traumatic things. Pressure was really.
It builds. I
It
think
builds.
that's one of the
Yeah, gradually built. And because at the time we were battling, fighting back or trying to find solution.
Is that, sorry, you're saying you're battling the bank, the situation?
Yes, yeah. And then, first of all, losing your jobs or being redundant, financial effect, of course. Then losing your home, being repossessed, and then the physical health, and start building a mentally coping mechanism. Couldn't actually go further, whatever we did. Then frictions came, we separated, and then start a divorce, filing divorce, etc. So at least hoping that maybe we individually go away and then start our lives again.
Each one of those situations in isolation is extremely stressful.
Yes.
Losing your income,
And
losing a
home.
home, going through a divorce,
Yeah.
that's an incredible amount of pressure and stress
It is.
for anybody.
It was. Yes, family members tried to help, but how much they could help. Anyway, and I found myself on my own. And at the time, depression was going from mild, from starting, and then.
How did it manifest in the early days for you? Did you just feel numb? Were you reactive? How did it look for you? It's different for everybody. But
Yes, first exhausted because I was, chasing these people, arranging the codes, preparing all these documents, everything, and then really exhausted. Then suddenly one day I collapsed at the shopping center, and then I find myself in the hospital because my heart couldn't take anymore.
was that a panic attack or was it?
Sort of, yes. I didn't know at the time. I was thinking, maybe I didn't sleep enough, and maybe this exhaustion and lethargy happening. Well, doctors checked the whole thing, and then your heart pressure is higher, so it might affect your
blood pressure?
blood pressure. And then diabetes came, and when I heard, I said, well, I ignored those ones, Okay, but I have to, carry on, these battles. I have to win this battle.
At this time, when the stress is manifesting itself physically, are you homeless? Are you still in your home at that point?
No, we lost our home. What happened? Friends. I approached friends, close friends. Not everybody you could approach at the time. Only very dear and trusted friends gave me chance, a sort of work along with them, caring for elderly, and then I could have a space, a room to stay in. So that was the quick solution for the time being. And it was wintry, and because they were going away for a month or two, so I stayed in their place, and then I have their company run, a caring company.
Okay.
So it sort of diverted my traumatic battle.
Focus.
Yeah,
Onto
focus.
something productive.
Exactly.
Did you find that helped with your mental state? That although everything wasn't yet resolved, being active, working, even helping others, was that something
That
that
was-
helped?
That it helped actually tremendously, because that was like losing your everything you dearly kept, those
You
things,
built.
and then suddenly I found myself helping other people, and it actually started healing me as well. It turned around that I'm focusing my energy instead of draining my energy for cannot change the events, losing your thing, but at least I could actually start using that energy to helping somebody, and it helps me as well.
And
So-
it stops you being isolated as well.
Yes, that's right. And then, for 6 to 8 months, I looked after the person, and then built a good relationship, trusted relationship. So, and then I could earn little money that I could actually go by daily. And then until court cases finished, I couldn't do it much for them. So
How long did that divorce
That-
process take?
it took a long time, like 3 years.
And were you homeless during that whole time, living in your work accommodation?
I lived like 1.5 years in the work accommodation, and then at the time I was doing like night shift with another carer. So during the day I could do my own things, going around events. And then I found this stress management course,
Okay.
and I enrolled.
Was that in person or online? How did that
In
work?
person, yes, and it helped me tremendously as well.
How?
Build
What kind of advice or strategies did they
Sort of
recommend?
how to keep yourself calm, and the strategies like diverting your focus to positive things for the future, and step by step what I could do now, rather than crying and being sad all the time. So that I could identify my problems and then the solutions.
Yes.
So
What do you do in those moments when you're overcome by emotion or depression? Because sometimes it's easier than other times to snap yourself out, and sometimes it can kind of sneak up on you and just, surprise you. What do you do in those moments to help you get back on a positive track?
yes, sometimes when I'm alone, those flashbacks makes me sad. Then I did create sort of a corner for myself. Now, Tanya, go to your corner and cry out instead of keeping this inside, and only share your joys and outcome with other people.
Yes.
So I wasn't actually cheerful all the time, and I wasn't crying all the time. So the balance, it has to be done
Yes.
first.
And it's healthy to cry.
It
And
is,
nobody
yeah.
is cheerful all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That is the reality. And in the past, I was very careful with my appearance, how I looked, because I used to work in corporate city jobs, and so I had to look well, presentable all the time. And
You still look very well and
during-
very presentable.
yeah, but during this battling time,
Yes, yeah. It's not-
I've
it's
seen
not
myself
priority.
worse in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then when I started this stress management course, counseling course, and I found those affirmations, I start making those affirmations in the mirror, saying, look, this is for the moment, this is a situation that it will change for better. So I kept reminding myself, and I permitted myself, now you can cry in your corner and come back and smile now, okay? Like self-talking.
Absolutely, and I feel like the intent behind our actions and thoughts make a huge difference as well, because there's a big difference in dolling yourself up and putting makeup on for the sake of something negative, like attention just for the sake of attention. It's very different when you either are going through something very difficult, maybe you've been through something very difficult, and it's an act of self-care that you are actively taking those steps. It might seem silly at first to think, oh, brushing my hair, or you don't necessarily have to put makeup on. If I wasn't working, I would put makeup on right now. But those acts of self-care and taking the time for yourself and attention are all forms of really looking out for yourself and prioritising your well-being.
At the time, my mum was my rock. And I remember this struggling time. My joints all struggled due to physical deficiency, whatever.
So
doctors gave me lots of medication, of course, painkiller mostly, but it's a pain numbing things, like because I knew that deep down the cause. And my mom used to take me to parks for walks, and then she's a petite, small woman, but strong woman. She would hold my arms and come on, we go for a walk, daily walk.
I like the sound of your mom.
And even it's like struggling, Mom, it's so painful, I can't step on it. And I says, here's your stick, use it.
And loosening up the joints and the fresh air is actually, it's ultimately good for you. It may not be fun at the time, but it's
and then I remember she was talking to my feet, this crazy woman, I'm her daughter.
I'm like her more and more.
She was, you know what she was telling? She says, poor feet, you know what she's done to you. Come on, let's go, we'll take you for a walk.
Yeah.
I said, Mom, what did you, who are you talking to? Your feet?
Yeah.
I said, is that my feet? Why are you talking to?
She sounds like a very experienced mum. It's such a mum tactic.
Bless her, yes, yeah, and we did that journey together. And then when I finished this stress management counseling course, I decided to, okay, this is my line, okay, there's everything experienced and physically and mentally. Now get back to normal myself.
How did you make those steps? Were you pushed by your support network, or is that something you as an individual had a light bulb moment where you just thought, okay, it's now, I need to start making those steps forward?
Yes, first of all, of course, it comes from within. When I decided, I remember I was making this self-talk in the mirror, said, now this is time. Get back to yourself and carry on. Now you are needed for other people with your experience. And yes, there are lots of development, self-development, reading, traveling, and going to places for recovery, even meditation or everything. Sort of things with a couple of friends we went for. Sort of yoga treatment in India, and different cultures, different atmospheres. So collected. So I felt that collected and supported. When I come back, I decided that
I would love to keep talking. I am absolutely engrossed in this conversation. We are limited on time, but thank you so much for joining us. This is Tanya joining me today from Healing Arts Plus. She works in the community with the elderly and mental health recovery and recuperation.
Yes, using everybody's lived experiences and sharing them to help other people to recovery in their journey. Now we are going to build a sort of much more compact website and webinars and seminars.
Fantastic. Will that be launching in 2024?
Hopefully, yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the ideal time.
Amazing. If you would like to learn more about any of the topics we have discussed on the show today, and specifically about Healing Arts Plus, we'll put links on all of our posts, and we look forward to it launching next year.
Yes, hopefully next year will be a great year. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Mind Over Matter TV. I'm Fiona Watt. This is Tani, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Hello, I'm Paul. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, episode 7. Today's guest is Karinna Love.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Today we're also going to carry on the discussion of mental health and how it affects everyone and how it affects everyone's day-to-day life. So Karinna, can I ask you, what is your thoughts on mental health? And I know it's such an umbrella term. Can you describe mental health to us a little bit, how you feel about it?
How I define it? Mental health, I would say anything that has an impact on someone's mental, how someone is feeling in themselves on a mental basis. But for me, it's all linked mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, physically, the whole shebang. All of it can have an impact on how someone's feeling.
I know, because it can be from something as severe depression, or something as anxious, and people think, oh, I'm just anxious. That is a form of mental health, isn't it? And what kind of forms of anxious is there, did you find?
OCD is one. I know a friend of mine, she suffers with OCD quite badly, with all sorts of things, all to do with sort of safeness and fear, or relating to her childhood, funny enough. Anxiousness, I suppose, is something that I have dealt with. Depression, suicide, personal experiences with a long time ago. So but there's many forms of mental health issues.
So do you think mental health, where does it come from? Does it really come from trauma, childhood trauma, or trauma in the past?
I think it comes from many different places. Childhood trauma tends to be one, but not just childhood trauma, childhood experiences. So anything that impacts when children are very young, because they're coming from an emotional brain, so they haven't got the logical brain, doesn't develop until about between 6 and 9 years old.
Yeah.
Everything's coming from an emotional standpoint, so everything they hear and see, the subconscious kind of takes on, it goes straight to the subconscious, and that can then shape their perspective on the world, how they behave, how they interact with people, the thoughts that they have. And if they've had anything that is considered traumatic to that child as they get older, then it just accumulates as they get later on in life.
And that can be detrimental to relationships,
Everything.
friendships,
Everything.
So a lot of people talk about depression pills and medicines. I know that you do some alternative medicines. Could you like to explain about that at all? Some alternative thinkings? Would you like to explain on that?
Yeah, I do various alternative. The business I'm going to be setting up is actually in complementary therapies, and at the moment I am qualified in Rahani, which is Rahani Celestial Healing. So it's very similar to Reiki. The practice is the same as Reiki, the modality is the same as Reiki.
So to tell our viewers, what is that? What is Rahani? What is it?
It's an energy-based healing.
Energy-based healing.
So like Reiki, if people have heard of Reiki, which is a lot more mainstream, its energy comes through the practitioner and then comes through the hands, and then you're working on someone's aura, like someone's energy field that we all have that surrounds us, that surrounds our physical bodies. So you're working on that, where Reiki is a certain type of energy that you're channeling. With Rahani, you're channeling in sort of an angelic energy. So it's love. It's all about connecting people back to their heart, bringing balance, mind, body and soul. It's a very, very beautiful energy to work with. And the other is shamanic practices. So I've actually stepped onto shamanic medicine wheel, and that encompasses anything. It's the oldest form of spirituality known to man, and encompasses anything. But to me, the idea of a shaman is someone who works one with nature and works with anything within the natural world to bring any being within the natural world into holistic well-being, so a state, balance, mind, body, soul.
And into balance. And do you need to realise yourself, you need to be open to be healed, to be balanced? Because some people walk around with this baggage for years, don't they? They don't even realise, I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So the first part is realising I've got some problems, I've got some mental health issues, I need to address them, don't I?
Yeah, awareness is definitely
Awareness
the first.
is the one, yeah.
It's definitely the first step. If you're in denial, or if you like to say, it's all within the subconscious, because subconscious remembers absolutely everything. It's like a record. So, and we tend to, as we get older, tend to box these things up, put them in the back of our brain, suppress them. People turn to external sources of comfort.
E.g. alcohol, excessive eating, negative patterns of thinking.
Yes.
Because it's all just a circle, isn't it? It's just,
Yes.
it's just, and
It's
you
just
need
cycle.
to break that. You need to break that cycle.
Yeah, break the trauma cycle. So yeah, people will suppress, and then at some point later in life they might have an epiphany, or they might have, obviously some people term awakening, but to me awakening doesn't just know, it's more awakening up to yourself, who you really are underneath everyone else's bullshit that you've had piled on you since you were very, very young.
And it must be nice to have that lifted off you.
It's fabulous.
Because I know a lot of it about patterns. We're talking about patterns, bad cycle patterns, because you can swap bad thinking patterns for good thinking patterns.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have thoughts, and they sometimes thought isn't real, but if you give that thought energy, then that thought can take you away. You know, we have, how many thoughts do you think we have a day? I heard something between 70,000 to 100,000.
I think I've heard about 1 million.
1 million, what,
Yeah.
a day? Just thoughts.
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah, because your mind never stops.
It never really
It's constant.
stops, does it? No.
And if you don't pay attention to the stuff that's just running through your mind, I used to be very, very critical of myself, very judgmental because of the judgments that I'd been given by other people, mainly. And then you internalise that and you become more and more critical of yourself. And before you know it, you're just walking around telling yourself off for every single thing that you've done or haven't done throughout your day.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's just,
Sometimes
it's
give
horrible.
yourself a break, you know, it's okay, and no one's
Yeah.
working, so wait, don't go
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
And I think sometimes we have these thoughts, if you give them power, if you give them, think about them, that's when they can go off. So it's just a thought, like I think of it like a train. Comes into the station, and then it just leaves the station. I'm not getting on that train, goes, and then you come back to the present again. Do you think being present is important?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so when you're present, you are more aware of yourself. How am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I doing in the world? How am I operating with others? You can only really be, awareness comes from being present.
And you say you're starting up your business. What was that? Is that doing some healing work?
It will be, yes. So it'll be doing the Rohani, doing the shamanic practices that I offer at the moment, which will increase the further along the medicine wheel, I guess. So there's like 4 directions of medicine wheel. So it can take quite a long time to complete the whole thing. I'm also doing a hypnotherapy-based course at the moment as well. So I'll have, the idea is to be able to offer many different therapies.
So hypnotherapy, can you talk to us more about that, please?
Okay, this particular one is hypnotherapy based. So the lady that created the course was a lady called Marissa Peer, who's very, very big in self-development world. She does a lot with a company called Mind Valley, who are very well known. And the course that she's created is hypnotherapy, NLP, CBT, and I think a few other things are sort of amalgamated into one. But the idea is it's very, very quick. So you go to traditional hypnotherapy and it could take between 6 sessions, maybe average, for you to be able to deal with an issue. With this, it's between 1 and 3 sessions, and that issue is dealt with. And I went to, with this hypnotherapy course, I actually went to the live events. We got to spend 5 days with the lady that created it in the afternoons and then practice with other students.
Oh, really?
And when we was doing it, when you were doing the sessions with some other students and she was doing the demonstrations in front of the whole group, you got to see, witness instant changes in these people where they've had this stuff they've been carrying around since a child. And suddenly it's gone. You take them, sort of regress them back in hypnotherapy, so you take them into a meditative state, basically what hypnotherapy is. And then when you're in that meditative state, you can then start talking to a person's subconscious, and it's the subconscious that holds everything. So then you can sort of pull the memories out, if you like, or get them to remember certain things, but then you're able to change that. So like say the replacing or the reframing, as they call it, this particular modality. And then people change and they have instant changes.
Because it's always the subconscious, we don't realise that we hold this, do we?
No.
And that's tapping into the subconscious to change these beliefs, isn't it?
Yes.
And so you can change the bad beliefs and negative beliefs into good beliefs.
Yeah, and then you change someone's behaviour and actions because you change their beliefs. They're no longer walking around critical of themselves, feeling depressed. They're able to see that there actually is a different way.
Do you think like social media has got a big impact? It's like every time you look on Facebook or someone's Instagram, it's basically their highlight reel, isn't it? It's not them day to day. So a lot of people look at it and think, oh no, that this person's doing this person looks like this person, you know, that's just their highlight reel, it's not them. So you don't always have to amount to that, do you?
Yeah, and I know someone in particular, I won't mention any names, but I know someone in particular that when I've seen their Facebook statuses, it looked like they're having an amazing time. They were off on holiday all the time, amazing life. And then when I saw them in real life, and they hadn't done any of that, those pictures they were putting on Facebook actually were, you know, a few years old.
Yeah.
And I suppose maybe in their eyes, it was a way for them to feel better about their life at that present time. But it gives you a completely different perspective on someone else's life. You don't really know what's going on behind closed doors.
No, you don't know. And I think that's the thing about mental health issues is, you know, someone's got a broken arm, someone's lacerated, cut. You can see that, but you can't see mental health damage.
No.
And that we're having these discussions now in bringing awareness to it. I think, you know, we're really doing a service really to the nation.
Yeah, very important. Very important.
And now going back to negative thinking, negative cycles. You know, I've found a lot of ways that I've helped in my own experiences and how to cut the cycles. I found out something about chewing gum. So if you're nervous, you stop salivating, because it's, say, back in the caveman days, you'd be running away from the saber-toothed tiger, so you wouldn't have saliva because you wouldn't want to eat. So once you start thinking these negative thoughts or getting depressed or anxious, pop a chewing gum in, all of a sudden you're creating saliva, and your mind thinks, wait a minute, there's no risk here at all, and it breaks the cycle.
Okay, that's good. I've not heard of that. That's good.
Yeah, it breaks a bit like meditation breathing. Do you meditate?
Yeah, I really meditate pretty much on a daily basis.
Oh,
but I
dear.
found different meditations. I couldn't meditate a few years ago, and people have I know a lot of people that have trouble with the word meditation.
Why do you think they have trouble? It's a bit stigma. It's like hippie, but it's all you're breathing, isn't it? It brings you back centre, and your mind thinks.
Yes, I think with the person I'm thinking in particular, it was more when you're meditating, this whole idea of you're supposed to completely empty your mind, and I don't know if there's many people that can actually get to that unless you live, I suppose, a Buddhist life. They might get to the point where they can empty their mind, but it's more just about being able to sort of quieten things or take your focus off that and bring your focus onto something else, like the inner self. So that's how I did it. I don't actually stop the thoughts. Like you say, thoughts come and they kind of go. So it's just trying to...
Not feed the thought.
Yes, not trying to run away with it.
Not run away with the thought, yeah. So do you think like goals are important? Having some sort of goals, short-term goals, because then otherwise, and it doesn't even have to be, you know...
Little goals, little steps.
Little goals.
Yes.
Because the first step is to take one, isn't it? And I think that's important for anyone to... Just so they've got something to shoot for, otherwise you get lost in your own thoughts, and that's when people get depressed, because they think, well, I've got nothing anyway and nothing's happening. But if you're working on something, writing a book, exercise, whatever it is, building Lego, whatever floats your boat, man, you know. But at least it's something for you to focus on. Do you think that's important to have something to focus on?
I think it's also good for having, let's say, the outcome side of things. So this is an accomplishment that I want to reach, but it's also then you've got a reflection to look back on. So you can then kind of look back. It's very important with the shamanic side of things. We journal quite a lot, and it's helped to be able to look back and see, right, okay, that's where I was a few years ago, and this is kind of where I am now. And you can sort of link things up. It's amazing. There's so many synchronicities and things when I look back. But if I didn't have all that, looking back, I wouldn't be able to see it now.
No.
So you just you obviously be unaware.
So it's about awareness and freedom. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
You're
had a
welcome.
really good discussion, and we wish you all a Merry Christmas from the Mind Over Matter crew, and wishing everyone a Happy Christmas at home and Happy New Year. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Mind Over Matter. I've been joined by Yolanda. Welcome, Yolanda, to the show.
Thank you.
You're here to talk about self-growth and self-development.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey on self-growth. What does self-growth mean to you?
I think self-growth for me means being more confident and comfortable. I think comfortable is a better word, in my own skin.
Yeah.
And just, having that confidence in who I am and what I stand for. And
you're an actor.
Yes.
So how important is that kind of self-growth? How important is that self-confidence in what you do?
I think the most important part is because as an actor you do so many auditions and everything. 99% of the time it's always no.
A lot of knockbacks.
Yes, and I think the most important thing that I was taught is not to take that personal, because they have so many people audition, and the casting people, they always have already an idea in their head of what they want, and it's not that you're a bad actor.
Yeah.
That's not why they don't choose you.
You just don't fit.
Yeah, you just don't fit that imagination that they had, or maybe the other person had better chemistry with somebody. It's always things that are out of your hand, and having an audition is already something that they see something in you. So yeah.
So you've built like a great amount of resilience in yourself.
yes,
How
I'd
do
say
you develop
so.
that resilience when you get so many knockbacks and so many no's and so many doors closing in you? How do you develop that resilience?
I think just the most important thing is not trying to take it personal. I read somewhere from a different actor that said a no, it's not a no, it's a not right now. And I feel like that helped me a lot. And also trying, as soon as the audition's done, just try and forget about it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a really positive way to look
Yeah.
at it. I like that. Just, it's not for you, it's not your time.
Yes.
But your time will come.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. Just do the next thing.
Have there ever been kind of particular stages in your life where it was like, yeah, this is a real turning point for me in terms of self-growth, in terms of self-development?
I think
Maybe a certain break you got in the industry, or maybe kind of turning 18 or turning a certain age, or you moved away. Any kind of period in your life in particular that was a real turning point for you?
I think I was a very insecure child and teenager. So I think later on, because I just never felt like I fit in somehow. So I think during my first year of uni was the first time that I properly found people where I could be myself. And I've never realised that before. I was not properly myself. And so since then I've been trying to pick and find people where I can be myself, and I think that helped a lot. Yeah, because
that's really important, actually, isn't it? It's finding your people,
yes,
isn't it? Sometimes you won't fit in with every crowd, and you're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
supposed to.
No,
You
yeah,
don't want to fit in with every crowd. You want to find your kind of people.
exactly. And sometimes when you're, sometimes you need to act a bit weird or something like
Yeah.
that, as you do. And I like being a bit quirky or something like that. And some people look at you funny, and some people accept it and are the same. So
Yeah. They look at
Yeah.
you funny, they're not your people.
yeah, exactly,
They're not your
exactly.
And was your people at university, was it the acting crowd, was it the drama people? Is that where you kind of found your place? in
No,
yourself?
funny enough, not. During uni, because I studied drama, but I was in my course, one of a few international peoples.
Okay.
So I think, I don't know why, because there were so many Brits and then just a few of us international people. So I found my way better with internationals.
I see.
Probably simply because we were all a bit outsiders. Maybe through that, and obviously we didn't have the same cultural background.
Yeah.
Maybe through that, I don't know.
Yeah. You
I don't
kind of
know.
felt like outsiders from the get-go.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped you bond.
Yeah, and I was 20 when I went to uni, and most of the people that in my course were 18. And even though it's just 2 years, from 18 to 20, it's a big jump.
It's a big jump, definitely.
So, yeah,
And how old are you now?
I'm 25.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can imagine kind of the person you were at 20
Oh, yeah.
is different to the person you are at 20.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
What would you say to your younger self, to your 20-year-old self, in terms of kind of self-growth and self-development? What advice would you give?
Just keep on working, just be who you are, and it's gonna be okay. You'll always find people that you get on with and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of find your people.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And what's next for you in terms of acting, in terms of self-growth and improving yourself?
I think I need to have a bit more confidence in I don't want to say in my work, because I know I can get there, but have the confidence to approach people that are in the industry and I know are going to help me, because I'm looking for an agent right now, and I've been putting off for so long, being like, oh, I want to get better headshots, but now I have better headshots. I want to get my show reel better, and just like it's okay for now. Just like go on with it. And
Okay.
give myself.
Keep going.
Yes, exactly.
go
Give
with the
myself a bit of a kick up the butt.
Kind of network a little bit more.
Yeah,
Meet
exactly.
kind of industry professionals.
Mhm.
Definitely. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Good. What advice would you have to any budding actors out there, maybe lacking a bit of self-confidence, looking for ways to grow?
I would say get yourself friends that hype you up.
Yeah.
I found after uni I did a 6-month screen acting course, and there I found a bunch of friends where we're like really good at that. Come on, let's do it. Let's get together, film something just to get like some footage or something like that.
Yeah. Just people who like build you up. And,
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it helps so much. Because when you see yourself, it's such a weird thing to see yourself on screen and to hear yourself on screen. And there's always like, oh, I don't look nice in that shot. Oh, I could have done that better.
You'll always find something. won't you?
Exactly. But other people see you a lot differently than you see yourself. So I think it's very important to build yourself up.
It's so important, isn't it? Just to hear another perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's that nagging voice in yourself. You're
Exactly.
like, oh, I didn't do that right, or that was terrible.
Mhm.
You know, but you need sometimes someone from the outside to have a different perspective.
Yeah,
So actually,
absolutely.
that was really good. And you
Yeah.
won't often say that yourself.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because you'll always find something that is like,
Final question.
Yeah.
Do you think confidence is something that people just have naturally, or do you think it's something that they kind of need to work at?
I think initially as a child, yes, but I think in childhood a lot of things happen that kind of destroy that confidence a little bit. Because little children, they don't care about other people. They run around, they scream, they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then I think it's maybe parents that be like, oh no, don't do that, what will other people think?
Yeah.
And I think it starts with little things like that, being
Yeah.
like getting really self-conscious.
Yeah.
And I think, it's not even things that we can control.
Yeah. It's even things like just getting told off for like being too loud or wearing something a bit too loud. Or,
Yes.
you know, sometimes even speaking your opinion.
Yeah, and
People might say,
also,
don't say that, you don't want to offend people. Yeah.
yeah, and also with social media, more and more little kids have social media, and just that, oh, my friend got more likes than I did, whatnot. It's like that means they're better than me, then they're cooler than me.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's just things like that knock us back down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we can kind of work through that. There are ways to build our confidence,
Yeah,
to work towards self-growth and self-development.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. It just goes to show that, you know, nothing we can take for granted.
Mhm.
We've got to work through lots of different things, you know.
Yeah.
Particularly self-growth. As
Yeah,
long as we're willing to work on ourselves
yeah,
and grow.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Working on yourself. I think that's something you will never stop.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. That was fantastic.
Oh,
so
thank you,
much.
Sophia. It's lovely talking to you.
You too.
So that is a wrap. Thank you so much for watching us today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next year for more. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year.